in the last 2 years, and it happened quite rapidly, where decision-making slowed down the entire infrastructure industry. And there are a variety of reasons why it happened, from environmental blockages to scams, exposition, leading to bureaucracy, not making decisions, and therefore a number of critical decisions on making payments on projects, cost overruns and changes were held back, which mounted our debt considerably. And this led to basic losses that we had. We then found that we have to go through a process of realigning our debt, and chose the corporate debt restructuring method to do that. And so we've reshaped ourselves, focused ourselves more, and concentrated.
What, according to you, are the challenges that are facing the infrastructure industry in India?
The growth rate in the infrastructure industry is terribly hurt. You know, when India's growth rate falls, primary area that gets affected is infrastructure, the developmental expenditure. For the last 2 years, when we looked at the visible order book at the beginning of India's financial year, it was around 110 billion US. This year, it dropped to 75 billion US, and because some critical decisions were delayed, it has dropped even further down to about 50 billion US. The Environment Ministry continues to hold back key projects. They have today still to clear or have blocked midway 900 projects, which we are talking about is about $100 billion or more.
You know, one response to the slowing growth from the government earlier this year was the announcement of the investment of $1 trillion in developing infrastructure in India, of which they hope that at least half of that money would come from private players. What does that plan mean to somebody like you?
When about a year and a half ago, when this was announced, I have myself said that 1 trillion looks like a big figure today, but it is not. I mean, India's needs are much bigger than that, and 1 trillion will look small in a short time. However, the investment climate in the country, because some of government's own retrograde policies a few months ago, like the Vodafone case and others, have created increasing lack of confidence in the minds of the investor. And I mean by investor, I mean the entrepreneur also. This $1 trillion is more than desirable, it's probably less, and it's definitely doable only if these reforms are implemented and investment climate for entrepreneurs to operate is improved.
You know, one of the big problems for infrastructure development in India is land acquisition. We are expecting that perhaps a new law might be in Parliament later in the year. But how big a problem is this for companies like yours?
It is an issue. Everywhere we find that land acquisition has held up several projects. Some of them, land acquisition issues are politically raised. You know, when you hear of Singur, etc., they have been actually created by politics and less about really an objection on the ground. I have not yet seen the latest version of the land acquisition bill, but what was previously presented was a disaster. And that would have led to no development for many, many years. So I'm glad that they're rethinking it. Once the new land acquisition bill draft is available, I would be better able to comment on it.